Hello everyone, it's me, it's Luna as always, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Untethered. Shocking! If you remember from my previous video, I said that and that is exactly what this is. I'm going to try and keep it brief because there's a lot to go over, but let's start with a bit of background. So exactly what is Pre-Alpha 10? So Pre-Alpha 10 is my planned early access feature complete milestone. So what that means is essentially the design that I kind of envisioned, the scope of the game for early access release is now all in place. I've done it. I've added in everything that I think Untethered really needs. And then I put it in front of a playtester. And my amazing playtester will be tore it apart. There's a lot that's wrong with this version of the game. And that's why it's planned feature complete. It's not actually feature complete. Feature complete will be alpha. So if you're familiar with how the roadmap was meant to be, it was meant to be that we would get pre-alpha 10 and then I would make some changes and then go into alpha, which is the feature complete phase. Following this playtest, I've realized that there are a lot of problems with the game. I'll talk about it at the end of the video. But what that means is I'm going to do a pre-alpha 11 and then go into alpha. But anyways, that's the big picture of what's going on. Let's actually look at some features. Okay, so we have a very simple station happening right now just to get things rolling. But let's talk about the first thing, which is fuel. If we pop over to the command terminal, we see there are some new gauges here. We've got station mass, delta V, fuel levels, and if we want to travel to a new location, we have to check the delta V cost, and because we've got plenty of fuel, we're totally fine. But what happens if we don't have enough fuel? Well, there are two places we can get fuel. We can scavenge it from wreckage, or we can mine asteroids. Now the first step to mining asteroids is finding them, and we can do that in the radar module. This is the radar module. It is obviously a work in progress, but if we pop in here and switch it on and extend the boom, we can access this interface, which allows us to set a scan configuration, and then we can start this scan. And that will, in the background, draw power and it'll find us some objects for us to explore. So we'll come back later. Okay, so now we've left that to cook for a bit, we can return and we can have a look that we've found some things. Here's some wreckage that we can explore and an unidentified object, which, surprise, surprise, will be an asteroid. So now that we've downloaded those, we can go and visit the command terminal and that'll show us some locations we can visit. So let's go see an asteroid. Okay, we've just arrived at our asteroid. Here it is. Obviously, also work in progress. To mine it, it's very straightforward. You just have to hold left click and we'll collect some regolith, as you can see in the top right corner. Now, all we need to do with this regolith is refine it. Let me show you how that works. So this big rack here is the refinery. As you can see, it's 3 units long. It is a powerful thing that will suck a lot of energy as well. We can load it up with regolith and we can start the batch. And this will take some time. So once again, we can leave this to cook for a while and see what it comes up with. So the refinery is done now, so we can have a look at what it produced. There's no items here, but we can see that it produced 40 liters of water in this output tank. Now, how does this work? So let's talk about this. Well, we can open this outlet valve and we can pop over to a water tank over here and open the intake, and the water tank will start to fill up, which is kind of fun. And what can we do with water? Well, there's lots of things we can do with water. We can use it to power a fluid lab, which now requires water. We can use it to drink as well. We can fill up pouches with water. Or we can use the power of electrolysis. If I open this outlet, we can take it over to an electrolysis unit that I prepared earlier and split it into hydrogen and oxygen, which of course is almost rocket fuel. This is gaseous hydrogen and oxygen. What we want is liquid, and we can produce liquid using liquefaction units. However, liquefaction units are a special kind of rack in that they require a direct connection with a coolant loop. So it just gets more and more complicated, which is what we love, right? We can power these up and then pop over to our coolant control unit. Now, because I've also built some radiators, we can add radiators to this loop. Then we can add our loads, and once we've got that all connected up, we can start producing liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Now, like I said, I'm trying to keep this video brief, but the final thing to talk about is the service module. What's in here? There's a dark tunnel. That's my tug down there, and this down here is the service module, which is essentially a tug that you can build yourself. If we pop in here, I've just built this, so we need to power it on. Don't mind the visual glitches. We have our own little tug that we've built. So the starting tug is down the other end of the station, and this is one that you can build. It's got an airlock up here, and it's got a hatch which takes us into whatever we want to build down this end. And the great thing about this as well is because it doesn't use berthing mechanisms, it uses this new fancy docking port mechanism, which, I mean, can you tell this thing's a work in progress? This is very broken. But we can pop up here to the docking interface, where we can switch things on. We can go into undock mode and click undock. And we are now piloting our very own spacecraft, which is pretty cool. We've got a checklist over here, we've got controls, we've got the view. I'm going to quickly change it to daytime so we can see what's happening. Here we are. So I can use WASD, I can use IJKL. We are able to move around. Now we can switch it into docking mode, and we can cycle through docking ports and stations if we need to, if we've got a really complex situation we've got ourselves in. But we can now redock if we would like to. But maybe we don't want to, because the great advantage of this is that it means we can leave behind a heavy station that we just built, and we can just fly our lighter service module to a new location, such as the end of the game. But anyways, now that we have our station situation here, we've got a little system happening. We are in low Saturnian orbit still. I haven't showed you any of the exploration stuff because I'll leave that to you. What can we do? We can save now as well. We can click quick save, and that will save our progress. We can save and quit, and we can leave the game and come back later. So that's that. That's pre-alpha 10. I hope you are intrigued and interested and maybe a little bit hyped for the early access release whenever that happens. This hopefully just gives you an idea of what you can expect. There's some stuff that I didn't even mention, like the health system's been overhauled. There's internal fires are a thing. There's a whole bunch of new wreckage for you to explore, and there's a whole bunch of story gameplay mechanics that are related to that. The reason I didn't mention is because those things are all kind of things that will probably change in pre-alpha 11. But the general idea of building up a space station and engineering the systems to make it run as smoothly as possible is the gist of it. So hopefully you're interested. What's next is pre-alpha 11, as I've been saying. So I really need to... I think the main problem with pre-alpha 10 is just that it didn't feel cohesive. It feels like a lot of disjointed systems, and I need to find a way to make them feel like one game. And I have some ideas. And along with that, there are some also new features that I'm thinking of adding. And then once that's done, we can move into feature complete, which is the alpha phase, which is very exciting. I'm very much looking forward to polishing this and getting it out the door into your hands. So yes, thank you for watching. Thanks for your support. Subscribe here, join the Discord, do all the things, wishlist if you haven't already done that. I assume if you're watching this, you've already wishlisted it. But yes, I'll see you around, and have a good day. Into water, and this gives us an excellent opportunity to focus up here on my face. Hello. Probably optimistic, but we'll see what happens. Wow, it's blindingly bright.